Alright, Shalom. I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Ha, Racha, Kodash, Mama. That belongs to the elder apostles and the elders of GMS. That belongs to my elder of this camp as well. Salutations to the sincere Akim, pushing his truth and sincerity around the four corners of this earth. I'm the Car Corral by Yasharala, coming out of the Lions Den camp of Yasharala here in Jacksonville, Florida. And today I'll be coming out with a lesson. The title of this lesson is Esau. The scriptures, the Bible, is Yasha Allah's blessing. And as you know, here lately, ever since the truth has been coming out about the scriptures, about what the prophets look like, about what Yahweh Shai looks like, about what Yahweh looks like, now all of a sudden it's a problem. Esau is trying to take up our blessing, the scriptures, to use them to his own end. But the fact of the matter is, he was blessed with the sword, not the scriptures. That's why when he tries to pick up our blessing, he cannot use it, and vice versa. When we try to pick up Esau's blessing, which is the gun, the sword, we lose. And that's the same thing that happens, Salakia. That's the same thing that happens when Esau tries to pick up our blessing, which are the scriptures. He loses because he has no idea on how to use it. But the scriptures are our blessing. Yasharah's blessing, and the sword is Esau's blessing. So Esau, Edomites, the Bible is our blessing. The scriptures are our blessing. Stick to your blessing. Your blessing is the sword. You stick to that. But without further ado, let's get right into it. This is Psalms 50, verse 16. It says, "But unto the wicked Yahweh saith, What hast thou to do to declare my statutes? Or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth." So the Lord is saying unto the wicked, because Esau is the border of wickedness according to Malachi chapter 1. The Lord is asking, what hast thou to do with my, what business do you have with my statutes or my covenant? This is a question. And Esau, and the fact of the matter is, Esau does not have any business with the statutes, the covenant of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, because he doesn't fit, because this is not his portion. The Lord has given him his blessing, which is the sword. This is Yasha Allah's blessing. The scriptures, the law, the covenant, this is our blessing. The spirit, this is our blessing. Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. Also, aka the Israelites. It says, verse 17, "Seeing thou hatest instruction and castest my words behind thee." So the Lord is saying, what business do you have taking my covenant, my commandments, into your mouth? Because Esau, he's always trying to bring out scriptures and trying to debunk the Israelites, but they like to say that black, they have to do that in the back of their throat, the black Hebrew Israelites, when the fact of the matter is, we are not black. We are different shades of brown. We've never ever been black. Black is a byword and a proverb. It's a form of disrespect, actually. But this they try to use the Bible to debunk the Bible. And when it comes down to it, Esau, these scriptures, this is our blessing. This is Yasha Allah's blessing. It's not your blessing. So put down the Bible. Put it down. Because you have no business taking the Lord's covenants in your mouth to begin with. And the fact of the matter is, Esau hates instruction. So seeing as how you hate instruction, you cast the words of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua behind them. What's something they don't like? The fact that the prophets were dark skinned. The fact that the brown skinned, dark skinned, that the Lord was brown skinned or dark skinned. The Heavenly Father is dark skinned. They don't like that. They got this thing called colorism. Well, colorism is in the scriptures. It tells you the color of the Lord. It tells you the color of Samson. It told you the color of Moses, his sister Miriam. But see, that's the things that Esau don't like. So he cast that behind him and tried to say salvation is for everybody, but it's not. The blessing is only for Yasha Allah. Shalaki, real quick. This kind of hurting my feet. But continuing. It says, verse 19, it says, "Thou givest," I'm going to jump down to verse 19, it says, "Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit." And that's how Esau gets down. He giveth his mouth to evil, and his tongue frames deceit. His tongue framed lies. And he tried to use the scriptures to push forth his lies. But just like when Jake tried to take up Esau's blessing, which is the sword, the gun, and they failed, the same thing happens with Esau. They try to take this blessing up. They try to take up the true sword, the real sword, the spiritual sword, and they fail because why? They don't have no skill on how to use it because it doesn't apply to them. It's not for them. The blessings are only for Yahshua Allah. Verse 20. It says, thou sittest and speakest against thy brother, and thou slanderest thine own mother's son. So that's what Esau do. He plot and he speak against his own brother. Esau still hate Jacob to this day. The Edomites are Esau, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, Jacob, i.e. the Israelites. The Edomites and the Israelites, they hate us. They show you every day. They've been showing you for literally hundreds of years, thousands of years, that they hate you. And when they try to use the scriptures to pick up the scriptures, try to come against the real men of the Lord, try to come against the Israelites, that is littered throughout the scripture that the scriptures speak about. They try to debunk that and remove that and try to insert themselves. Esau again. The Bible is Yahshua blessing. The scriptures are our blessing. This is our sword. And our sword is sharper than any two-edged sword. It cuts down to the bones, the marrow, all the way down to the soul. It's a discerner of the thoughts and the hearts of men. So, the blessing is for Yahshua Allah. The scriptures are our blessing. The scriptures are our sword. Just like we can't wield Esau's sword against him, he can't wield our sword against us. Continuing. This is Psalms 52. We start at verse 1. It says, why boastest thou thyself in mischief, O mighty man? The goodness of Yahweh endureth continually. So why boast yourselves? You know what I'm saying? Oh, in mischief. And this is what Esau does. He boasts himself in mischief. Little sneaky wrongdoings. Oh, mighty man. And right now, Esau, he's the mighty one right now. He's in power. This is, but the goodness of the Most High endureth forever. It lasts continually forever. The grace, the protection of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua towards his people, that lasts forever. The truth, continuing. Verse 2. Thy tongue deviseth deceit, it's like thy tongue deviseth mischiefs, like a sharp razor working deceitfully. And that's what Esau does. His tongue devises mischief. What is the thing that he used? We are not the Israelites. The black Hebrew Israelite. That's devising mischief, calling us black. When that black, the word black has a negative connotation to it. It means devoid of life, devoid of light, nothing righteous. It is synonymous with death, decay. So that's what he called us. So that's him, using his tongue, like a sharp razor and working deceitfully, deceiving the people. They always try to do this. And I was watching a couple of videos by the elders. Apostle Hall, R.M. Lab, and Gabar, and they was doing their own lessons in this Edomites that they were talking about. They were trying to use our blessing, the scriptures, and they had a problem with what they were saying, colorism. They had a problem with the prophets being dark-skinned people, men. They had a problem with the Lord being dark-skinned, but they never ever had a problem before when everybody thought that the image that they put up of Caesar Borgia was the true image. It wasn't a problem. It wasn't colorism then. But now that the truth is coming out, and the truth has come out, all of a sudden it's colorism now. And they setting up Jake. Even 2/3 of our people right now, they don't even got no business picking this up right now because they're not in the right mindset to do accordingly. They don't even understand that this is our blessing. But continuing, back at verse 2 again. Thy tongue deviseth mischiefs, like a sharp razor working deceitfully. Thou lovest evil more than good, and lying rather than to speak righteousness. Salah. So there you go. Esau, he loves evil more than he loves good, and lying rather than to speak righteousness. They lie every time they bring the scriptures out or whatever. They're lying because it's not for them. This is our blessing. So every time Esau comes with this sword, he's going to lose that battle every time. Just like when Jake tried to rise up and go against Esau with his sword, well, the Lord put Esau in power right now. And this sword is the gun. So when Jake rise up to try, guess what? Jake lose that battle. And vice versa. When they try to come up against us, they lose that battle because this is our blessing. This sword is our blessing. And this sword is the ultimate weapon. But they rather do evil, and rather than to speak righteousness, they lie. That's what they do. Esau, he'll lie rather than to speak righteousness. He will just flat out right lie. Verse 4. Thou lovest all devouring words, O thou deceitful tongue. See, there you go. Esau's tongue loves devouring words. What's a devouring word that he always used when they call themselves coming against the Hebrew Israelite? Black. That's a devouring word. That's a demeaning word. That's an attack, actually. A verbal attack, believe it or not. But that's how they do. Black Hebrew Israelites and colorism, because they don't like the fact that the truth coming out. But when they try to pick up the scriptures, what happened? The Lord always have a brother or one of the elders around the four corners of this earth, cut them with the scriptures, put a video up, and it's already circulating. It's already in current. It's already circulating. So they're gonna see the video somewhere, and they're gonna get cut down. There's many accounts of per se colorism. But continuing. Psalms 55, verse 20, 21. It says, He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. See, Esau, that's what he does. He put forth his hands against people that are at peace with him. People that are not causing him any problems and or any harm, he comes against them. You know, he finds some kind of ill will or reason to come against him. You know, and he break his covenant, meaning he don't keep his word. These Edomites don't keep their word. They say one thing and do another. Verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter. See, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter. They sound good. They easy to take in. But war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords. And that's how Esau is. He sound good. His words easy to take in. He had you thinking that, oh yeah, we're going to do this and this, that. But guess what? In his mind, he at war with you. You know what I'm saying? In his heart, he at war. His words, they softer than oil, but they're drawn swords. He seek to destroy you with his words. He seek to use deceit and lying rather than to speak righteousness. But Esau always try to take up our blessing and try to use it against us. But the scriptures are our blessing. They cannot win that battle. Just like when Jake tried to rise up and use his Esau blessing, guess what? He cannot win that battle. Jake go down every time. And if he don't go down, he end up seriously injured and almost dead. But when they rise up against us and they try to use our blessing, which is the sword, the real sword, guess what? We kill them in the spirit every time. They can't stand. They get murked every time. Verse 3 of Psalms 58. It says, the wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. See, they're estranged from the womb. Right from the get-go, from 21 Jump Street, right off the bat. Guess what? They go astray. They go to speaking lies. They go to deceiving, rape, robbing, and murdering, because it is in their nature. And guess what? When they try to use the scriptures and try to deceive And the way the Lord got it set up right now, they deceive they deceive those who don't understand. They deceive 2/3 of our people. And they also deceive their own selves, thinking that they know. But they don't know. They don't understand that this is our blessing. The scriptures are our blessing. The Bible. This is the rule book. This is the sword. And it cut all the way, it cut everything. It cut all the way through to the spirit. That's why when we bring out scriptures and you start bringing out precepts and various things, when people listening, guess what? They end up mad and hurt and they walk off. They want to get emotional because they can't. There's no defense. You cannot block this sword. This is a sword you can't block. You can block a bullet. You can block a physical sword. You can hide behind something. But when it come down to this sword, it's cutting through everything. You ain't finna get out the way. But continuing. Let's go to Psalm 78. Verse 5. It says, "For he established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers that they should make them known unto their children." See, the Lord established a testimony in Jacob. That's another word for Israel. He established a testimony in us. He made us witnesses. He established the law within Israel, Yasha Allah, which he commanded our forefathers, and he also commanded our forefathers to make these laws, statutes known to the next generation under them, and so forth and so forth and so forth. So salvation is only for the Israelites. That's another hang up Esau is on. Oh, salvation is for everyone. No, salvation is only for the Israelites. Period. If you're not an Israelite, when this judgment comes, the Lord is only going to save his remnant. Ultimately, he's going to save all of Yasharallah. But they're going to save a remnant. And you got to think, the Lord scattered Yasharallah over the four corners of the earth. He just scattered us everywhere. So we everywhere looking like everybody. That's where you get that when they say he gathered unto himself, it was a multitude of, roughly paraphrase, I can't really think of it off bat, but all nations, kindreds, and tongues. That meaning Israelites, the remnant that the Lord has taken from all four corners of the earth. So you're going to have Israelites that's going to look like Moabites, Ammonites, Hamites. You're going to have Israelites looking like Edomites. You're going to have Israelites looking like Elamites, Asherites, so forth and so forth. You're going to have Israel. We look like everybody. We are the majority on the planet. But he established this law and this testimony within Yasharallah. He did not do so with any other nation. As a matter of fact, let me continue this and then that'll be my next point. Verse 6, that the generation to come might know them, even the children which should be born, who should arise and declare them to their children, that they might set their hope in Yahweh and not forget the works of Yahweh, but keep his commandments, and might not be as their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation that set not their heart aright, and whose spirit was not steadfast with Yahweh. So again, it was already commanded for our forefathers and then the generations to come after them and down the line that we might set our hope in Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah and don't forget his works. Don't forget his great, marvelous works that he did for Yasharallah. You know what I'm saying? And keep his commandments. It don't say nowhere in the world, don't say nowhere in the scriptures where Esau can keep the commandments and it's for him. It's not for him. As a matter of fact, let's go to Amos chapter 3. Because Esau seemed to think he got some kind of part in this, and the fact of the matter is he does not have a part in this. This ain't his part of the show. This ain't his blessing. This is Yasha Allah's blessing. That's why we can divide. That's why we can rightly divide the word of truth, and break down these scriptures. But here we go. This is Amos 3, verse 2. It says, "You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities." So the Lord is saying, you only have I known of all the families on the earth. He's talking to the children of Israel. Did he not do this thing? The Lord did this. He has punished us. You know what I'm saying? Out of all the families on the earth, he says, I only know this one special people. You have I known of all the families on the earth. He says, therefore I will punish you. Yasharallah got punished for their sins. These other nations do what they want. Nothing happens. Yasharallah, what we doing right now? Hardcore bondage. Children getting shot down the street, day in, day out, getting kidnapped. Esau putting hell on our people. So this is for us. This happened to us because disobedient, hard-headed. Forefathers disobedient, hard-headed. And it came a point to where it was a nation of Israel that knew not Yahweh. That didn't know him. And our people right now don't know him. But the Lord has only known Yasharallah, only Israel. No other family on the earth. No other nations of people on the earth. Second Esdras. Oh, there we go. Chapter 3, I'm going to start at verse 14. It says, "Him thou lovest, and unto him only thou showedest thy will, and made an everlasting covenant with him, promising him that thou wouldest never forsake his seed." Now this is talking about Abraham. The Lord did make a covenant and a promise with Abraham that he will multiply his seed as the sands of the sea. Did he not do this? It says again, "Him thou lovest, Israel, and unto him only showedest thy will." The Lord showed Abraham his will, his laws, his statutes, his commandments, what to do, how to live. He gave that to Abraham. And he made an everlasting covenant, a contract, a promise that he would never forsake his seed. We come through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We come through that bloodline. We come through that lineage. David, everybody come through that bloodline. But he established the law and the testimony in Israel. Verse 16. He says, "And unto him thou gavest Isaac, and unto Isaac thou gavest Jacob and Esau. As for Jacob, thou didst choose him to thee, and put by Esau. And so Jacob became a great multitude." So again, unto Abraham, the Lord gave Isaac, and unto Isaac, the Lord gave Jacob and Esau. The Lord chose Esau, so like the Lord chose Jacob, but he put by Esau. He put by the Edomites. He bypassed them and chose Jacob. Like, no, I'm choosing you. That's what it is. And so Jacob became a great multitude. The Edomites, there's a lot of them around in the world, but that great multitude is Israel. Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. So when these scriptures start coming out, and Esau he can't get around it. He can't wield this sword because he's not spiritual. This is a spiritual sword, and you have to be spiritual to wield this blade correctly. If you're not spiritual, you're not going to be able to use this sword. You're not going to be able to use it. See, you could take Esau's sword, the gun, that's carnal. You ain't got to be spiritual to wield that. Anybody can wield that, but when it comes to this, the spirit of Yahweh Shemel Shai got to be dealing with you for you to be able to pick this up and swing it right. Continuing. This is second Esdras. I'm gonna go to verse 6. It's like chapter 6. I'm gonna start at verse 54. This is how you know that these other nations, salvation is not for them. Don't matter. Again, this is 2nd Esdras chapter 6, verse 54. It says, after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people of whom thou hast chosen. See, we all come through Adam. But, continuing, all this I have spoken before thee, O Lord Yahweh, because thou madest the world for our sake. See, the Lord even made the world for the Israelites' sake. He made this for our sakes. This beautiful earth, he made it for us. Let's continue. Verse 56, as for the other people, which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and hast likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. So the Lord is saying, as the other nations that come of Adam, the Lord is saying they are nothing. He's like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. You do what you want to do. I don't care. This is but be like unto spittle. When you spit at your mouth, you don't be like, oh no, my spit. You just spit and you gone. You ain't thinking about that. That's how the Lord think about these other nations. You know what I'm saying? They're likened unto the abundance. You know what I'm saying? You got a bucket full of water and one little drop fall out. You don't care because you still got a whole bucket. Same thing. That's how the Lord look at these other nations. Period. So ain't no salvation for them. And mainly Esau, because this is our blessing. And then you can do about it. Sirach 17 and 17. This is Sirach 17 and 17. For in the division of the nations, of the whole earth, he set a ruler over every people. But Israel is the Lord's portion. See, for in the division of the nations, for in the dividing, the separating of nations out of the whole earth, he set a ruler over every people. But when it comes down to the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, i.e. Israelites, Yasha Allah, we are the Lord's portion. We are the Lord's possession. Whom being his first, verse 18, whom being his firstborn, he nourishes with discipline, giving him the light of his love, and doth not forsake him, who being his firstborn. Mashallah. Nourished in what? With discipline. Establishing the law and the testimony in Israel, and giving him the light, the scriptures, the truth, the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to be able to break these words down, to talk to our people, to teach them the light of his love, and doth not forsake him. The Lord still has not forsaken Yahshua, even though 2/3 of our people are hard-headed and doing what they want to do. He still has not forsaken them, even though they're going to get judged. But that's what a father does. He warns his children and tell his children to get in line. Hey, you need to get in line. And I'm going to tell you behind up. You stop. And the child don't listen. And guess what? Punishment. Child cry and it's like, hey, well, you just going to have to cry because you were told. But then, you have the children, mama or daddy say something, they get in line, they stop, but you might have they might have another little brother or sister that just act like they can't hear. And guess what? They got to get greased up. See, this stuff happened only to Yasha Allah, because this is only for us. This is our blessing, and no one can wield it, but Yasha Allah. Let's get Deuteronomy. Chapter 4. Let them past it. There we go. Chapter 4. Verses 44 and 45. There we go. It says, and this is the law which Moses set before the children of Israel. And this was the law that the Lord gave Moses to set before the children of Israel. The Lord gave us the law when we got out of Egypt. And this is the law which Moses set before the children of Israel. These are the testimonies and statutes and judgments which Moses spake unto the children of Israel after they came forth out of Egypt. So the Lord established the law and testimony in Israel after we came out of Egypt, after we came out of bondage, slavery. For what? For being hard-headed and disobedient. And that was a captivity. And guess what? We back in Egypt again. We back in Egypt again. Except for this time we came by ships. Deuteronomy 28 and 68. The transatlantic slave trade. Esau also has a problem with that too. He doesn't agree with that. But that's the fact. That's how we got here. We didn't get here. The first Egypt we walked in. Literally. Walked in. Walked right on into slavery. This right here we got shipped over here. That's how we end up over here. And he got our people from the west coast of Africa. And there's still a lot of Africans over there on the west coast of Africa that know that they're Israelites. And will tell you that they're Israelites. So this is not a joke. This is not a lie. The scriptures are our blessing. It's our sword. And our scripture and our sword is sharper than any two-edged sword. It's cutting through everything. Whether if you believe it or not, agree with it or not, it don't matter. This truth gonna stand. So this is for us. Last point. The Lord ain't get this to nobody else. He ain't get this to no other nation. Last point. Psalms 147, verse 19. He showeth his word unto Jacob, and his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. Point blank period. He showeth his word unto Jacob. That's another word for Israel. The northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. That's who he showed his words to. And his statutes and his judgments. He didn't show this to nobody else, so can't nobody else get this. Ain't nobody else getting punished and getting judged for going contrary to the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. But who getting punished? The so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and the confusion in the face of Yasharallah. The Israelites that look like other nations. They're the ones catching hell for not being obedient. We're the ones living paycheck to paycheck. You know what I'm saying? The Lord said he'll blow on our money. We put money only to put it in the bag with holes. That's why you think we live in paycheck to paycheck. This is a curse. We're the only ones that's suffering this on the planet. Nobody else. So Esau, you don't have no business picking this sword up. Your sword is the gun. Use your sword. Leave our blessing alone. Continuing. Last point. He hath not dealt so with any other nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua. So he ain't dealt. So he have not dealt with any other nation on this planet. And as for his judgment, they have not known him. Esau don't know a tap about the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua. He don't know jack squat. Like Chris Farley used to say on Saturday Night Live back in the day. He don't know jack squat about the law, statutes, and commandments. So Esau, put the sword down because it's not your blessing. You got your blessing. Use your blessing. Leave us to our blessing because our blessing is going to overtake your blessing. Shalom.